Some games are just not destined to become successful. In some cases it is due to them being genuinely bad, such as Overture, Walden and the Werewolf, a game that is lacking in all but its soundtrack. Some it is due to bad marketing. Daikatana would be the perfect example of this. A game with its issues, but its arrogant marketing destroyed any hope of any mercy from critics. Then there are those which simply just get released at the wrong time. And Acronox shared such a fate with it being developed by the same developer as Daikatana. Due to its association with Daikatana multiple release delays, the game was sadly massively overlooked. It may have been different if it had released before Daikatana. It may be harsh, but the reality is, not all good games are successful. Blake Stone Aliens of Gold is a first-person shooter developed by Jam Productions and published by Apogee Software. It was developed using a modified version of id Software's Wolfenstein 3D engine. The modifications made to the engine allowed for a number of graphical improvements in comparison to Wolfenstein 3D. Blake Stone Aliens of Gold, released December 3rd, 1993. Aliens of Gold is set in 2140. The player takes the role of British intelligence agent Robert Will Stone III, aka Blake Stone. After a successful career in the Royal British Navy, Stone was hired by the British intelligence, where he is about to embark on his first major case. The case is to investigate and eliminate a threat by the name of Dr. Pyrrhus Goldfire. Goldfire is a brilliant scientist with evil intent. His field of science is that of genetics and biology, and he has outright disrespect towards working within the boundaries of ethics. Using his organization STAR, Goldfire plans on conquering Earth and enslaving all of humanity using an army of specially trained human conscripts, modified alien species, and genetically engineered mutants. Stone is sent in to take out each of Goldfire's 6 star installations before his army can invade Earth. His first stop is the Star Institute. The Wolfenstein engine is as primitive as it gets when comparing it to games of that of the modern era. There is no looking up or down. Levels are one flat surface consisting of nothing more than corridors and rooms. The games made on the engine have but a paltry amount of weapons, unlike today's first-person shooters' massive arsenals. Do not be fooled by its primitive appearance. There is a lot of fun to be had with such old games, if you give them the chance. Aliens of Gold is split into a total of 6 missions, or episodes if you prefer. Each episode consists of 11 levels, 9 regular and 2 secret. The objective of each level is to acquire the red keycard that will give you access to the next floor via the elevator. On the 9th floor you will have to face off against one of Goldfire's guardians, which will open a way to ending the episode. The secret levels of each episode are both found differently. One is found through finding a secret in one of the levels that contains a teleport, which will then bring you to the secret level. The other is accessible by finding the secret red keycard on the 9th floor and returning to the elevator to access the 10th. A unique feature to Aliens of Gold is that you can move between levels as you please once you've unlocked them. This is perfect for when running low on health or ammunition. You can return to a previous floor to replenish both. Each level has an assortment of enemies, pickups, secrets, and treasures to find. Pickups include medkits and food to restore your health, energy packs that are used for ammunition and treasure that when collected increases your overall score. There are also food tokens that are used to gain food from food dispensers. Each level has its own scoring system that is split into 3 categories: total points, informants still alive, and enemies destroyed. The total points are calculated by finding treasures and killing enemies. Throughout each level you can interact with informants who give you energy packs and food tokens. Informants are agents from the British intelligence. They look exactly like enemy biotechs. The only way to tell the difference is by interacting with them or shooting near them. If they are not an informant, they will begin to attack you. As for the enemies destroy, that is pretty self-explanatory. Simply attempt to kill all the enemies within the level. If you gain 100% in any of the level's categories, you will gain extra points. You will only gain extra points for keeping all the informants alive if you get 100% in the other two categories. At the end of the episode, your total points are then placed on the high scores board, where your name can forever be immortalized for your bragging pleasure. Scoring points and scoreboards may be a thing of the past, but they are something that can truly add to a game's experience. It gives a reason to seek out the many secrets that the game contains. To further increase the arcade aspect of the game, you also have lives. You have 3 to begin with and can gain additional lives by increasing your score beyond 500,000. It is a once-off bonus, yet lives are not required in a game that can be saved and loaded at any time. That is, of course, unless you want to attempt a hardcore challenge of completing each episode without saves. Aliens of Gold is a game that caters for players of all skill levels. There are a total of 4 different difficulty settings to choose from. The first is Novice. This is the easiest setting for the game, where enemies are weaker and fewer. It is a difficulty only suitable for first-time players of the genre. Next up is Skilled. It is what would be considered the normal or average difficulty. This would be the one that a majority of players would choose. It offers a fair share of action while not making the combat harsh. But if you're looking for a challenge, you would need to step up to the next level. Expert. Expert increases the amount of enemies by approximately 50% of that in Skilled, not to mention increasing enemies' health and damage by about the same. It is the difficulty to choose when looking for a challenge, but not wanting a hardcore experience. If hardcore is what you are looking for, then Veteran will more than cater your masochistic cravings. Hardcore doubles the amount of enemies in each level, increases their health and damage by double, and brings in some of the strongest enemies into the game from the beginning. This truly is the ultimate challenge for an elite FPS gamer. It requires a lot of determination, time, and patience to get through all the episodes in this mode. If I didn't turn down the difficulty from Veteran to Skilled, I still would be attempting to finish this 2 weeks from now. The difficulty setting of Aliens of Gold are well thought out and allow anyone to pick up the game and play it without feeling alienated by difficulty. Most importantly, it caters for those who may never have played such old FPS games before, allowing for easy entry-level gameplay. Like almost every first-person shooter, gameplay of Aliens of Gold is primarily fast-paced, adrenaline-filled action. This revolves around killing pretty much anything in your path, while attempting to not get the same treatment in return. Blakestone is very much a futuristic James Bond character, and with that there is an extremely small amount of stealth element to the game. The first gun that you start the game with is actually a silent pistol that allows you to take out weaker enemies with one shot silently. It is a great way of dealing with weaker enemies without getting the attention of any others within the area, which other weapons would do. When used right, it is a powerful weapon for conserving ammo and getting around silently, at least for a while. Unfortunately, this is a first-person shooter, and the developers were looking to create their own sci-fi Wolfenstein 3D, so full-on fast-paced action certainly outweighs the stealth. It is a shame, considering with different level design it could have potentially given the player the option to play the game 2 different ways. Nevertheless, it is a nice touch to the game. total, there are 6 weapons at your disposal, the first being the auto-charge pistol. As previously explained, it is a weak pistol that allows the player to kill weaker enemies in a single shot, silently. It has unlimited ammo but needs to recharge after each shot. It is a weapon that should only be used as a last resort to conserve ammo or to kill weaker enemies without getting others' attention. The first real weapon that you get your hands on is the slow fire protector. It is a beefier pistol that is capable of killing even the medium enemies without too much difficulty. It is perfect for taking out small groups of enemies, but against larger groups you will need something with a faster fire rate. When you need to clear out a room of weaker enemies, the rapid assault weapon is exactly what you need. It fires at a moderate rate and its damage is capable of taking out most weak to medium enemies in a few shots at most. Be cautious with it though, go wild with it and you will begin to run out of ammo very quickly. If you feel the rapid assault weapon isn't fast firing enough, there is the dual neutron disruptor. This is one of 2 experimental weapons found throughout the levels and only obtainable through finding secret areas. It is an extremely fast rate of fire that can cause huge amounts of damage. Once obtained, it'll be your most used weapon. Finally is the destructive plasma discharge unit. It is an explosive weapon that works in a similar fashion to that of a grenade launcher. It launches balls of plasma that explode upon impact, damaging anything within its blast radius. It is a weapon that must be used with care as it is easy to kill informants by accident when using it. All the weapons use the same ammunition and using the right weapon at the right time is essential to surviving. Most of the weapons have not had a lot of imagination put into their names, but they are certainly most satisfying to use. Blasting a hole in a henchman's chest or filling a mutant full of bullet holes never gets old. Each weapon has its own tune that is played upon picking it up. Nothing feels better than picking up the plasma discharge unit and hearing its tune play. It truly is an exhilarating moment. Standing between you and putting an end to Goldfire's plans is an army consisting of conscripts, aliens and mutants. One of the first enemies you will come across is the biotech. Biotechs are scientists behind the mutants and they are loyal to Goldfire in every possible way. They look exactly like informants, but upon interacting with them they will begin to attack you. Alternatively, you can fire a gun near them which will also trigger them into attacking you. They are the weakest of enemies, but don't let that fool you. They are capable of killing you just like any other. Next up from the biotech is the sector patrols. They are Goldfire's inexperienced henchmen that act as security that patrol the floors of each installation. They are the most common enemy and one of the weakest, making them easy to dispatch. They are equipped with the slow fire protector, which they drop upon death if you don't have one. Star Sentinels are tough soldiers that carry the rapid assault weapon. They are able to take some punishment while capable of dealing great amounts of damage at close range. When facing off against them, keeping as much distance between you and them as possible is essential, as if these guys aren't tough enough, there is one henchman of Goldfire's that exceeds them in every way. The Star Trooper is death on legs. It is not just the toughest of the human enemies you will face against, but one of the toughest enemies in the entire game. They wear bulletproof vests which allow them to shake off large amounts of damage. Very often they will fall unconscious after taking a certain amount of damage, shouting "I'm down." This is not the end of the battle, however. If left unattended, they will get back up and seek you out looking to surprise attack you. Before taking your eyes off these walking tanks, ensure they are dead by checking for blood. As if that is not bad enough, they are capable of dealing tremendous amounts of damage, killing you in seconds, even in the easier difficulties. Dealing with human enemies is one thing, but dealing with mutants is another. The first mutant you will come across is one of 2 experimental genetic aliens. The first is brown with razor-sharp teeth and claws that are capable of ripping you to shreds. From a distance they can also spit acid at you to further increase their danger. The second is a larger green creature that is tougher than its small brown counterpart. Its attacks is exactly the same as the brown one, but don't expect it to go down so easily. The high security genetic mutant looks more intimidating than it actually is. It may look like a bullet sponge, but it can be taken down with relative ease. This, however, does not mean it isn't dangerous. It has a slow fire protector which it uses to shoot from a distance, and when up close it begins to punch you. Despite it being one of the weaker mutants, it is more than capable of killing you with ease if you are careless. Pod aliens are beings that are generally found within their pods. If the pods are disturbed, they will hatch where the alien will begin to attack instantly. It spits acid at you, which can quickly drain your health if hit too many times. They are also reasonably tough and are capable of taking some punishment. More often than not, they are found in groups, making them far more dangerous adversary. Mutant guards are one of the most dangerous non-human enemies in the game. They are fast moving and are able to shoot using a slow fire protector. They are also capable of taking a lot of punishment and are often found lying on a table with a white sheet over them. When in this state, they often wait until you're off guard before getting off the table to attack. They are an enemy where you must be on your guard at all times. Electro Spheres are one of the biggest nightmares that you will come across in your mission to stop Goldfire. They are balls of plasma that roam the corridors and halls of the installations. While they can be killed with a single shot, they are extremely fast, silent, and can nearly instantly kill you. They have a dirty habit of sneaking up on you, killing you before you even notice they are approaching. As if the Electro Spheres are not bad enough, there is one enemy that is far worse. The high plasma energy alien is a being of pure energy. It is a slow moving creature, yet it is capable of firing multiple projectiles at once. The projectiles can potentially kill you in a second if you are hit by all of them at once. To make things ever more frightening, very often they are found in rooms that contain plasma spawners. Every time you kill one of the aliens, another spawns, making them unlimited. It is often best to kill what is needed and make a break for it, as opposed to attempting to fight for any length of time. They are a horrifying creature to have to deal with, and even in the most battle-hardened players fear the sheer sight of these monstrosities. Experimental mutant humans are the result of experimentation being conducted on humans. What you get is a hulking creature with sharp claws and teeth and is capable of spitting acid at you. They are tough and capable of dishing out a lot of damage if given half the chance. This should be dealt with as quickly as possible. Fluid aliens are the most unusual of the enemies found in Aliens of Gold. When it is not attacking you, it resembles a puddle on the ground, making it easy to go unnoticed. When it attacks, it shifts between its puddle form and that of a tentacle. It fires water projectiles at you which deal medium amounts of damage. They are only vulnerable to attacks when they are in tentacle form, making them an enemy that requires a bit more of a tactical and patient approach to defeating. Experimental mech Sentinels are robotic guards with cannons on their arms. They are tougher than most human guards and are capable of dishing out serious damage at close range. They are often found in groups, particularly in the harder difficulties, making them exceptionally dangerous to face off against. A shoot and cover tactic is often the best approach to dealing with this mechanical hulk. Automated heavy armoured robot turrets are Goldfire's lethal defence system. They are found on the ceiling and can often be overlooked, resulting in taking damage or even killing you rather quickly. They also can only be destroyed using the rapid assault weapon and the dual neutron disruptor. Any other weapon would be completely ineffective against these dangerous annoyances. Finally is the Perscan drone. They act like a mine that is capable of tracking you once it targets you. Sometimes they can be found at a standstill, but more often than not they will hunt you down. Upon destroying them, they will explode, damaging or killing anything in its blast radius. If it gets close enough to you, it will also explode, dealing moderate damage. Aliens of Gold has an excellent selection of varying enemies for you to blast to oblivion. They each have their own behaviour and sound effects, some of which are extremely satisfying and amusing to hear. The game introduces new enemies at a pleasant pace, leaving new enemies to be discovered as you progress. It truly is an entertaining cast of foes. As with Wolfenstein 3D, Aliens of Gold does have a rather labyrinthian level design. Thankfully, unlike in Wolfenstein, Aliens of Gold has an automap available which can be viewed using the tab key. It allows the player to work around each level and never get lost. Overall, the levels are large and use all the space that is possible to create one using the Wolfenstein engine. Levels are littered with various secrets hidden throughout, and even to the degree that there are secrets hidden within secrets. There is even a level which is entirely designed of secret doors which the player must find in order to explore. If there was to be any complaints in regarding to the level design, it would be that some of the later levels feel a bit rushed. They are smaller than levels early in the game and also contain far less secrets to be found. Enemy and ammo placement is also a bit unbalanced in the later levels, making veteran difficulty a bit of a nightmare when it comes to ammo. Certain levels also have informants who get in your way or stop you from reaching 100% completion due to placement. In one instance I had an informant standing in front of an explosive canister which must be destroyed to reach the 100% enemies killed. Destroying the canister also blows him up. They also have a tendency to run across your line of sight, getting shot in the process. The levels do have enough variation to them to stop the design from getting too repetitive, and they do fit in with what the purpose of each level is. There are minor frustrations to be found, but not enough that it will put you off playing the game. There is no denying that Blackstone is a classic first-person shooter. Its design and gameplay may not be to everyone's taste in this day and age, but it is a game that is still immensely playable. With fast-paced action, tons of enemies to kill, catchy soundtrack, and a total of 66 levels to complete, Blackstone is a bargain for its price tag. Sadly, it is a game that was never destined to be successful. During its initial release week, it sold relatively well. That was, of course, until December 10th. December 10th, 1993 is a historical day within video game history. It is, of course, the day the world was introduced to Doom. It was a revolution for video games, not just from a graphical standpoint, but gameplay. The Doom engine allowed for a greater level design, higher textures, and never before seen lighting. Doom crushed the dreams of any video games released within that time, and for quite some time after. Blackstone Aliens of Gold never stood a chance against the godlike game. Sales quickly began to diminish, and Aliens of Gold was majorly overlooked. Despite only having a single week of success, Jam Productions once again attempted to create a Blackstone game. You may see it as being brave or foolish, but you have to give them credit for their determination. Blackstone Planet Strike 2 failed upon its release in October 28, 1994, with such titles as Doom 2 releasing in September 30th in America and October 10th in Europe, and Heretic releasing December 23rd that same year. It never stood a chance. Jam Productions closed their doors that same year, leaving the two Blackstone titles the only games they ever made. There's a strange twist of fate concerning the Wolfenstein engine was licensed to Jam Productions by the creators of Doom. It is a sad end to a good developer. Thank you very much for watching. Join me in the next episode of Retrowatch, where we go back to 1998 to take a look at a point-and-click adventure of complete insanity.